Greeting Hayes Intermediate students. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're ready to work on this writing assignment because every day you're becoming a little bit better to be the best writer that you can be. Just got to put in that work, go back, do it again, put in the work, go back, do it again, take a look at it, edit, all that good stuff. Wiggity, 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 whack. Okay, so enough of me being goofy. Let's jump into this. So the first thing I want to show you is that, let me take this down here. We are in Google Classroom. So I would like for you to go to Google Classroom, and you're going to go to number 6, which is intro paragraph and lead intro paragraph. Let me open this up. Okay, there's that. And 1 second. When you open it up, you'll see intro paragraph here. It's not popping up just yet, but it will for you guys, and it will look like this. The other thing that we want to do is make sure that we're going to amplify, because sometimes when you read the headers and the chapters of books and titles, they really do a good job at just summarizing some of the words you might need to capture to add into your writing assignment. And that's going to be important for this writing assignment because we're going to be introducing some of the stuff that we did research on and that we read. And so I'm going to open that up. I'll go ahead and open up the library. And you're going to open up the chocolate collection. Oops, I accidentally hit the wrong one. I'm going to put this on pause and get it open for you. Now, today's lesson, we are going to be going over this. Let me show you. We are going to be introducing what is the lead. Let me make this bigger. We're going to do this introduction paragraph. I'm going to be teaching you about what leads are, which are the first sentence that you write about in your argumentative essay or any essay. You're going to start with a lead, and there's 4 or 5 ways that you can really start off that are easy and fun, get the brain juices going from writing. And then statement of a claim, which we have worked on, but we're going to be taking a deeper dive on. And then the one that is a little bit more background that I'm going to show you how to write this, relevant background. Now think about that, relevant background. So all the relevant background that we have been doing has been research related to chocolate, whether it's good for happiness or not good. So that can be everything from your Amplify collection over here, chocolate collection, or the research that you've done. You're just going to kind of think about all of these topics over here that we covered in all of our lessons, just to do some writing in your words about what you've learned. That would be the background, and I'll get into that a little bit later, or context of the topic or text. I'm going to say the relevant background is the easiest to work with when we're doing our introduction. So the next thing that we're going to discuss is what is a lead? Inside of your Google Slides, we have this over here, which are the 5 different ways that you can write a lead. Let me see. I think I have it over here too. Let me double check. And if not, I got it right here. Now, this is on a sheet of paper I'll be giving you as well, but it says, what is a lead sentence? It says a lead sentence or hook, and think about hook like when you're fishing, you kind of grab the fish, you're grabbing the reader, you're going to hook them in. It is the very first sentence of your essay. It is the main job to grab the reader's attention. You want to catch the reader, just like you stop scrolling when you see something cool online. You want to introduce the topic, and then you want to set the tone. Now, there are 5 types of lead sentences or hooks that you can go with. The first one is a question, and you start with an interesting or thought-provoking question that relates to your topic. For example, when we look back at the bottles, the water bottles, the plastic water bottles inside of the cafeteria, you could have used that information to develop a question. Did you know that the plastic bottle you tossed yesterday will take 450 years to decompose? That's kind of like an eye-popping event, like, wow, that's pretty crazy, that's cool. That's going to grab the reader's attention. Let's go to another one. You can start off your lead sentence with a fact. which is start with a surprising piece of information that is a statistical number that is really mind-blowing. Like every year, enough garbage is thrown away in the United States to fill 63,000 football stadiums. Interesting, get you, it's a fact, it really just pulls you in. The anecdote story. This is a good one for my creative writers. Like you could talk about a story related to your first time having chocolate, or how you get chocolate from a teacher and it makes you feel good for being rewarded. So seeing how I'm tapping into the happiness that chocolate is, which is what your essay is probably about. For some of you that aren't doing that, you might say you had chocolate and you found out you're allergic and you threw up. That would be just a quick story. And you want to do that in about 1 to 2 sentences max for pulling in your reader. Same with all of these hooks. They're usually 1 to 2 sentences. Or you can come out with a bold statement. So start with a strong, attention-grabbing claim that challenges the reader. So they give us the example, the single best threat to our planet is the way we deal with our trash. That's like shocking for some people. They're like, our planet, this is where we live. If we don't live here, then where will we live? Or you can start off with a wonderful quote, okay? So if some of you found a quote that you didn't use in your evidence, but you thought it was really good, you could start off with that by saying something like, in the article, it's this quote to start my argumentative essay is really powerful, quote unquote. My best advice for you is to probably start with the story or the question. Those are the two that are really important in this grade because they're the ones that kids can really get to and write with. And we don't want to have anything slow down our writing. So inside of Amplify, they gave us a couple examples for developing hooks or introduce our leads. And we're going to be down here in the research option number 2. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Okay. Like, do you think that chocolate blah, blah, blah? So that could be a question. Now, these are sentence starters you can want to use if you would like to use them. Today, you will find out whether chocolate is blankety, blankety, blank. Good for you, bad for you, gives you happiness. That's acceptable. You will be surprised to learn, blah, 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 blah. Or chocolate does or doesn't make you feel happy because, and you would probably put in some of the information that you've learned about why chocolate might bring you happiness or not, or health or whatever you want to roll with. So now we're going to back out of this. Sorry about that. And then doom, escape. Now, don't forget, we're kind of staying true to this. The only thing that is different, I'm changing on you, is this claim is now not going to be in the body of our paragraph, which is why I tried to not have you do it. It's going to actually go in our introduction. So the reason why I've been writing this with you is to make sure you got really tight on how you have to put a claim, evidence, and reasoning inside of your writing. That is the most important part. But now we're going to flip it and put it into the introduction. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. That's going to be right here. See how the claim is right here now? So we took it out of the body. We're going to put it up there. So that's the big change, and hopefully you're savvy enough to follow that. Now, moving back into the next thing. I am going to start off with something for doing a claim. I'm going to start off in my paragraph over here with my lead. Not my claim, I'm sorry, my lead. My lead is going to be, I am going to start off with a personal story. One time when I was little, comma, because that's a phrase of introduction, I had a chocolate. Now notice how I did chocolate. $1,000 bar at school, and when I ate it, my body tingled with happiness, and I wanted more. Pretty big sentence there. Now, the thing that I want to introduce to you is that this is going to be a story, a little story that's about me, okay? Another thing that you could have done was a question. Have you ever had chocolate and felt sad? Not me. I've only experienced happiness. Now, that is a question, okay? Because I had the first part of the question right here, and then it dipped into a little personal statement, but it's still a question. So those are two different versions. I would suggest going either with a question or with a personal story. Now, I'm going to take this away. And then the most difficult thing to really teach is going to be the background. So now when it comes to the background, I'm going to show you what you're going to want to do. The background is in 2 sentences describe in your own words what we have been learning about chocolate. Look and amplify the library, the pictures, and some of the other information you read online. Now I'm gonna take a moment to let this just go. And what I mean by that is I'm going to show you what I do to refresh my memory about my background. And maybe I start off by just saying, so, and just to let the writer, the person grading you know, you can just say some background that I learned from the chocolate collection is, and I'm just going to make this, it could be 1 to 2 sentences. I'm going to go over here to the library, and what I'm going to do really quick is scan the table of contents to sort of refresh my memory, because I just want to plug in a couple of things that I remember learning. So we're going to go to historians. I remember looking at all the different paintings related to how people were married and they were enjoying chocolate and that it was royalty. Then we talked a little bit about soldiers and how they had daily rationings, which means that they had a little bit of chocolate they would eat, and how they all looked forward to it the most when they were at war. I'm going to go back to this part, doctors and nutritionists. Here we start exploring a lot of the facts that we were learning inside of our writing, like why does chocolate create happiness? Like flavonols, we found out that there was caffeine in there. We found out that some people were Nobel Prize winners that had chocolate. We talked about how it could be good for your gut. Then we went over to how I don't think we really explored this too much about how oh, no, we did. We talked about the family here that was enjoying the cup of chocolate. We can get a lot from just the pictures that we're looking at. So I'm going to give you another example. I'm going to go back into one of our lessons. Now remember, I'm just developing my background, building it up in my mind so I can write. Remember, we saw this picture of the people that were experiencing happiness and feeding the dog and drinking hot chocolate. We can go here, that we saw the little kids that were experiencing hot chocolate with art. We can go here, seeing how much the soldiers would be happy about eating it, but it was part of their survival. And then we talked about this wedding here. And then I think we have one more too. Right here. That one doesn't really make sense to me, but this is hot cocoa here, and they're having it at a picnic. So happiness, all that seems like happiness to me. So now I'm going to go back to my introduction, and I said some background that I learned from the chocolate collection is that it can, now look how I'm tying back into what I'm going to be saying, my claim, it can bring health with flavonols, I think it was. Nourishment. I'm sorry, I don't know how to spell that. Nourishment to soldiers in war. And then one more. Look at how I'm just summarizing in my sentence by having commas in a series. 1, 2, and then this last one, and royalty enjoying its flavor. Then I'm going to get to what would be my statement. Now remember, or your claim. My claim, I told a lot of you, was you could just write this. My claim / opinion is that chocolate can bring happiness. We'll fix that. Okay. But you want to be able to, that's a very simple claim. Now, I'm going to take 2 minutes and teach you a little bit of, take a deeper dive on writing a more impactful claim. Okay, so let me pull up the stuff for that. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to do this rather quickly, but watch the plastic bottle one where they did a claim. Single-use plastic water bottles should be banned in our town to reduce pollution in our parks or protect our local wildlife from harm. Now, that would be going towards the bottom over here, right over here, that we also saw right over here inside of our introduction essay. But going back to this, we're going to be doing an introduction claim and a conclusion claim or restatement. So that way we're doing them right next to each other, and we will copy, cut, and paste our conclusion claim at the end and our next with our next step in our essay that I teach later. But notice how this is, your conclusion is going to be a little bit different than your introduction claim. They're the same thing, but said in different words, and that's what you got to come up with. So to keep our environment clean and our animals safe, it is essential that we move away from disposable plastic bottles. So no bottles is in this, that's the idea in this sentence, and no bottles here. Now going back to our writing, I'm going to say that I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to be a little bit more sophisticated with this claim. So I'm going to say this. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was happy? Notice how that's going to be kind of connected to my chocolate. Well, if everyone ate chocolate, happiness can be achieved, and you will see that in this essay. So I'm telling you that chocolate creates happiness, okay? Now, if you do really good on one claim and then you're having difficulty on another, then try to just get it done, and maybe you just go with the simple claim at the end. In conclusion, now you're good. We're writing the ending claim, the conclusion claim, and let me go over here, which is in conclusion, you repeat the idea, but use different words. In conclusion, my opinion, which is a claim, is that happiness and chocolate go hand in hand and make everyone feel great. Now, I restated the chocolate is happiness for everybody in the end. So that is going to be my ending conclusion opinion that we will copy, cut, and paste into our conclusion paragraph that we go over next. But this kind of wraps up how you will do this for your introduction paragraph. I'm not going to reread it right now. I'm going to go back and reread it later and make adjustments. But that's how you end up doing the introduction and the background, your lead, background, and introduction claim. And that's what your paragraph will be. So again, we are doing this right there. Boink. Lead, background, and statement. Have a great day. Good luck.